The 2016 NFL season is on its way. It's coming fast. It's time for me to give you my 10 bold predictions and for you to get pissed off. You're watching the MJ Take here on Sports Fan Entertainment. Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment. This is the MJ Take. I am your host, MJ, and it's time to give you 10 bold predictions for this rapidly approaching 2016 NFL season. The NFL season is a very beautiful thing on this channel because I love getting people pissed off. I love pissing you off. And it's not because I truly wake up and say, okay, how can I piss them off today? It's because I think outside of the box, or at least I would like to believe. And I like to be very blunt in the things that I believe. And a lot of people, especially when it comes to the NFL, if you ask every single team's fans in the NFL, will your team improve or will they get worse this year? Almost every team in the NFL would say we're going to improve. The only fans that are somewhat realistic, for example, this season, and might say, okay, we'll win less. I think I think Bronco fans will probably tell you that. Probably, but they might not. They'll tell you that, no, we won with bad quarterback play. We can do it again. Maybe Eagle fans and literally Browns fans, and literally that is it. I mean, and maybe 49er fans. That's it. 4 teams are of the belief that, okay, yes, we could lose less or we could lose more games than we did in 2015. Ask any other franchise, they're not going to want to believe it. They're not going to want to discuss it. If you tell them that, they're not going to want to hear you. They're going to tell you to get out of our face, blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't care because I'm here to tell you what I believe and what I see happening. And some teams, a lot of teams, more than 12, 13, 14, 15 teams will get worse, will come down from where they were last season. It's just mathematics. It's just statistics. Oh, and Panther fans, that's another team that will tell you this. But we're going to go beyond just wins and losses. I have statistical projections for you, playoff predictions, a Super Bowl prediction, not who's going to win, but who's going to get there. 10 bold predictions. I want you guys, though, comment some bold predictions down below in the comments. I want to know what kind of bold predictions you guys have. You don't have to give me 10. I gave you 10 just because, hey, I'm the guy. But you can do whatever the hell you want in the comment section below. With that said, let's get some people angry. The Denver Broncos are missing the playoffs. That's number 1. Look, I get it. And I really do. I really, really, really get it. And you want to know why I get it? Because I picked the Denver Broncos to go to the Super Bowl before last season. I had the Packers versus the Broncos. You can go back and you can watch. And why did I have this? Because I was of the belief that the Denver Broncos defense was so good and Peyton Manning was still competent enough for them to go to the Super Bowl and possibly win it. They won it. So last preseason, I knew the Broncos defense could carry them, okay? So I don't hate your team. I picked them. Not many people did. I'd say only probably anywhere from 16 to 20% of people even had the Broncos going to the Super Bowl. I was one of them. But now, here's the problem. Mark Sanchez. And it's a problem. It's a big, big problem. Mark Sanchez, now your starting quarterback. And you can pull up his Philadelphia statistics and you can say, look at these statistics. Or you can pull up Trevor Siemian and say, well, he has this potential. But the schedule is difficult. You open off the season hosting Carolina. They're going to beat you this time around. You host Indianapolis. You should win that game, but I am not 100% sure on that. You go to Cincinnati. Woof. You go to Tampa Bay. Jameis Winston is going to pull it on this year, man. He's going to really give you guys some problems. You host Atlanta. You should Win that, you go to San Diego. Man, this is a tough schedule. And to be honest, it wouldn't surprise me if they started 1-5 with this schedule. It's just not going to happen for the Broncos this year. And not only do I believe that they're going to miss the playoffs, they could be the worst team in the AFC West. You'll still be 7-9, 8-8, maybe 9-7. But a lot of the other teams in the AFC West are bringing it this year. So you're at best in the division, you're going to be 3-3, and that is at best. It is not a good year for the Denver Broncos. And also consider this. You know how many games the Broncos won last year by 2, 3, 4 points, by pick sixes, and just these small margins of victories? You can't sustain that. It was a little bit of a lucky run, and it was a great run, but I'm not betting on it to happen again. I'm sorry, Broncos, but you're missing the playoffs. Number 2, someone's making the playoffs, and it's a former Denver Broncos coach. Chicago Bears and John Fox, they're going to make the playoffs in 2016. They're one of the teams that lost a lot of games very closely, especially with Jay Cutler. Remember the first week with Jay Cutler, they faced the Packers, they lost by 8. Later on in the season, lost in overtime to the San Francisco 49ers by 6 points. Lost in overtime to the Detroit Lions by 3 points. Lost to the Vikings by 3 points. Lost to this team by 2 points. They lost a lot of close games, and with John Fox continuing to build this roster, signing Jarrell Freeman, drafting Leonard Floyd and Jonathan Bullard, and they have a lot of young talent in Kevin White, who I'm a big fan of, coming back healthy for this receiving core, helping to carry Jay Cutler. If they can just give him enough protection and Jeremy Langford can be a good enough replacement, I think the Bears are a really dangerous team. I have them making the playoffs, making the wild card this year. The Chicago Bears make the playoffs. Number 3. The New York Football Giants win the NFC East. It's time. There's a cyclical thing in the NFL, NFC East. I don't know why it exists for some reason. I don't know why. You have to ask God about that, but it's time. It's the year. It's about that time. The Giants, with Odell Beckham being the transcendent talent he is, with all the talent they signed on defense, for 1 or 2 years, it will be great. Right? And then it's going to be horrible. It's going to be a disaster when these guys start to get old and age and nutrition starts to kick in. But for the first couple years, it'll be great. And they're going to make the playoffs this year. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl, but the NFC East is theirs. The Cowboys' defense is horrible. Their defensive line, I call them the suspensions. That's their bad name because all they do is get suspended. They don't play, they just get suspended. That's all they do. They're probably smoking weed right now as I speak. Forget about their defense. Their defense stinks. The Giants have a better defense. The Giants have a better offense. And we're talking about the Redskins. Their schedule is too tough. Okay, congratulations. You won the division last year. Now you get to face all these great teams. You get to face the Vikings. You get to face the Cardinals. You get to face the Panthers. Good luck, and good luck, because I don't think you're winning any of those games. And that's what you get for winning the division. That's why it's a cyclical thing, because these teams aren't good enough to win the division, face the best teams in the NFC, and come back to win the division again. It's a cyclical pattern. It's time again. And this is despite the fact that if you honestly had to ask me who has the best roster in the NFC East, I will tell you the Washington Redskins, but you won your division last year, and now you got to pay. And it pays a price to win the division, because while you're facing these teams, the New York Giants will be facing the Saints. They'll be facing, the third-place teams in the NFC East, and you're going to regret winning your division. Or maybe even, did the Giants finish 3rd or 4th? Either way, they feel happy about where they ended up. I'll tell you, they ended up 3rd or maybe even 2nd. Either way, they are happy with the way things went. I guarantee you of that. We move on. New England Patriots. All right, so Tom Brady is suspended for the first 4 games, and they're going to go 3-1. I'm convinced of this. I'm a fan of Jimmy Garoppolo. Initially, when he got suspended, I thought they would go 2-2, but the more I'm looking into people's rosters, man, I think they're going to beat the Houston Texans. I think they're going to beat the Miami Dolphins. I think they're going to beat the Buffalo Bills 1, 2, 3 in weeks 2, 3, and 4. They're going to go 3-1. They're going to win the AFC East, and we will have never understood why we even had a conversation about this, because at the end of the day, without Tom Brady, they still have a better defense than those teams. They still have maybe the Bills, you could argue, but the Bills, they don't get good defensive play under Rex Ryan. The Bills defense was pretty bad last year, guys. They let up all these points to Blake Bortles and the Jaguars over in London, let up all these points against this guy and that guy. People's stats went down. Kyle Williams' stats went down. Marcel Darius' stats went down. Stephon Gilmore is the only guy to really thrive under that stupid defense, and now they drafted guys that won't play. Shaq Lawson's injured. The guy, Reggie Ragland, he should be healthy, but will he be? So I think the Patriots are still the best team by far, and they're going to beat these teams in weeks 2, 3, and 4. They're going to start off 3-1. Number 5, Derek Carr and Jameis Winston solidify themselves as top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm a huge Jameis Winston fan. I was ever since he came out. I told you he's going to be an all-pro quarterback, and you're going to see that ascendance. Man, the guy's way too talented. He went to college, and it was too damn easy for him. He transcended Florida State to a national title. He and he alone he did it. It's him. He's the one that transcended that team to a damn national title. You know, they had Kelvin Benjamin and Ronald Darby and all that, but come on. It was Jameis freaking Winston. He's about to ascend to a quarterback rating probably over 95. Wow, Derek Carr, we already know he's really good, and if Amari Cooper can just give him some more consistent in terms of catching the football well, Derek Carr, he's already borderline top 10. He'll solidify himself. So Derek Carr and Jameis Winston solidify themselves as top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL and probably surpass like Andrew Luck and some other falling guys. And maybe even a Tony Romo if he falls down a little bit, maybe even a Carson Palmer, depending on how well they do this season. Number 6. We have some coaches getting fired in the middle of the season. I say Jim Caldwell and Rex Ryan fired mid-season, probably mid to late season. I don't know why the Bills have such high expectations, but they do. So when Rex Ryan, and I don't think the Bills are going to be bad, but when they're still about an 8-8 team, they're just going to say, we don't care, we're getting rid of you. And Jim Caldwell should have been fired last year. It's going to be the same thing that happened to Joe Philbin, where we're like, how did you not fire this guy? And they're going to get rid of him early. I say by week 8, Jim Caldwell goes. And while Rex Ryan, probably really late, probably week 14, 15, but I think definitely in the season, he'll be fired rather than after the season. Number 7, Todd Gurley. And I don't know why he's not ranked number 1 on every fantasy board that exists on the planet, because this guy is going to run for 1,600 yards and 12 touchdowns. That is my bold prediction. The guy's fantastic. The Rams are going to run the football some more. He's pretty healthy right now. Keep that going, kid, because the guy's phenomenal. He's going to be the Rams' offense. Jared Goff needs to develop before they put the offense on his shoulders, and his wide receivers stink. Okay, Kenny Britt is the only decent one. Tavon Austin is the most overrated player, I think, in the NFL. He hasn't done a lick in the NFL, and yet people still pick him in your fantasy drafts and still even say his name. He doesn't deserve to be mentioned because the guy stinks. He hasn't done anything at the wide receiver position. As a punt returner, we can have a conversation, but as a wide receiver in this league, nothing, absolutely nothing for me. If you haven't gotten over 500 receiving yards, you leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you. Tavon Austin, and they have all these other losers and clowns, and who cares, and Jared Cook is gone, and I mean, come on, they're going to run the football, and he's going to put on big stats, he's going to lead the league in rushing. Draft him number 1 in your drafts. I don't know why there's a conversation being had. All right, number 8, Ryan Tannehill will be benched by week 10. I was a Ryan Tannehill fan heading into last season, and boy, did he disappoint. Now, he had one great game, one perfect passer rating game where he had 4 touchdowns and no interceptions, but outside of that, what a horrible year for Ryan Tannehill. Completion percentage went down, touchdowns went down, interceptions I think went up by a little bit, not by much, but by a little bit. And I think he's just kind of screwed, man. I think Matt Moore is going to end up starting under Adam Gase. I think the Dolphins are going to struggle a little bit, and they're going to have to look towards their bench to get better quarterback play. But I think Devontae Parker is going to be really good. So hopefully he can just use those guys to hopefully stay onto a job, Devontae Parker, Jarvis Landry. But man, I don't have much faith in Ryan Tannehill making it through this season, despite his big contract too. I think they're screwed. I think Ryan Tannehill is going to be replaced next year. And I think the writing's on the wall. He's going to be benched by week 10. Number 9, Jason Garrett will be fired after the season. Now, I don't think the Cowboys are going to be bad. I have them going about 8-8 right now. But here's the problem. Jerry Jones is nuts, and I think he's going to be really pissed when the Cowboys miss the playoffs this season. He's going to say, why did we miss the playoffs? You're fired. And it's going to be so erratic, and people won't understand it. And I will tell you that I saw it coming. Jason Garrett fired after the season, after the Cowboys go about 7-9, 8-8, just because he thought they should have won the division, and the Giants will win the division, as I said earlier. And finally, my 10th prediction, my last prediction concerning the Super Bowl. I don't want to give away who I have winning the Super Bowl yet, but I'll tell you someone who's getting there, and it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's time, ladies and gentlemen. I told you guys last year it was time for the Denver Broncos to make the Super Bowl. Now I'm telling you it's time for the Pittsburgh Steelers to make the Super Bowl themselves. They have the Trinity, the trio, Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell, and Antonio Brown. The defense is starting to come together. They have some nice budding players. They drafted some players in the secondary, a little young, but man, I have faith in Mike Tomlin to coach them up. They're going to get to the playoffs. Everyone knows that, and I think they're the one team that, yes, I'm betting to go to the Super Bowl right now over the Patriots, over the Bengals, over this team, over that team. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers that will be returning to the Super Bowl. Will they win it? Who will they be facing? You got to subscribe and you have to stick around because I'm not giving away that information yet, because I haven't really decided. But I know that the Pittsburgh Steelers will get there. I'm convinced of that. I've already made my mind up on that, and that is my 10th and last bold prediction. So what are your bold predictions for this 2016 NFL season? If you have any disagreements with what I said today, feel free to comment them down below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe for more NFL content as we begin our NFL coverage for this 2016 NFL season. It's going to be a fun season, and if you learn anything in this video, you learn this: I love to think outside of the box, and you may not like it, or maybe you will, but either way, you know you were entertained. Until next time, this has been the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out. Peace.